Morning, y'all. So I got one right now that I think that's going to offend some people, but this one is about the justice system. And y'all want to know the problem that I have with our justice system as it sits, or whatever the case may be? Because it's not about right from wrong anymore. Or I don't know if it's ever been about right from wrong. But it's more so about wins and losses, and nothing could be more evident of that, especially in family law. Nothing could be more evident that that's the truth than this video right here. Check it out.
I understand the argument that it seems to be common sense and our ethical.
It's more than common sense. It's statutes that prohibit perjury and submission of false evidence in court cases.
State statutes.
Are you telling me that a person in your client's shoes couldn't understand you can't commit perjury in a court proceeding in order to take somebody's children away?
Of course not, Your Honor.
Of course not.
Then isn't the case over then?
And the case is over.
Because
Costanich is distinguishable in my view. How in the world Costanich deals with a secondary care, foster care? That's a whole strange thing. It's not a person's real child.
even if Costanich is...
And guardian's the same thing.
Even if Costanich is distinguishable, there is... Thus far, we have not been presented with any clearly established right that tells us that what our clients did, which is remove the children pursuant to a court order.
No, but what they're accused of doing and what the issue is here is committing perjury in a court to take away someone's children. And you just said that's obviously not okay to do.
According to our moral compass and our ethical guidelines, but what we're here to decide is the constitutionality of it, and we look to the courts.
You mean due process is somehow consistent with a government official introducing perjured testimony and false? How is that consistent? I mean, I hate to get pumped up about this, but I'm just staggered by the claim that people in the shoes of your clients wouldn't be on notice that you can't use perjury and false evidence to take away somebody's children. That, to me, is mind-boggling.
In criminal proceedings, we know this to be true because that...
No, criminal proceedings, it's a court proceeding with a liberty interest, a fundamental liberty interest at stake.
And on the reverse side, the state...
And you're telling us that these officials who do this all the time couldn't be on notice that you can't commit perjury and put in false evidence.
I understand broadly the principle that common sense tells us that lying is wrong and lying to...
Yeah, but it's more than common sense. We're not using common sense. We're using the statutes, for example, against this kind of behavior.
I was not presented, I have not been seen any federal law, case law, or law that tells me that in this situation that we were faced in, which is what we have to look at.
Say your clients hired 6 people to be actors and to go into court and say, we're neighbors and we saw all this terrible stuff. And then your clients presented those witnesses in court. You're telling me that they would have no reason to believe that you can't do that because there was no federal case that says you can't bring actors into court to swear falsely against somebody.
But again, here we're appealing to sort of a broader definition of what is a clearly established right. I mean, we have to find the clearly established right in the context that our social workers were presented with, which was they were faced with a court order.
You know, again, I can't even believe for a microsecond that a caseworker wouldn't understand you can't lie and put in false evidence.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing on that video is someone who is clearly trying to win and not worried about the best interests of these kids. The fact that they had to lie and they felt the need to lie about a situation or something that happened or certain standards, they felt the need to lie means those people were negligent in taking those kids away in the first place. They have created irreparable damage to those children. For whatever time those children have been taken away from their parents. However, this woman is clearly fighting to extend that time that these kids have away from their children. And yet talking about moral compass in her argument and talking about common sense in her argument. Do you know why someone would have to lie in that situation to get things to go a certain way? Because they knew that the real story was lacking sufficient evidence. Now, that being the case, if there were small things that may have been able to be tweaked, why wouldn't you offer counseling in those areas that needed to be tweaked? It's not about what's in the best interest of the children. And this video, whether you're talking about the social workers or you're talking about the lawyer that's representing the social workers, this is a clear, present illustration of how hard this woman would fight to keep up lies and to keep lies admissible in court, and to even go as far as to offer up that there is no court case that says that lying in court is wrong. And this is an officer of the law. There are people who every day represent individuals that they know are guilty. And we understand that. We understand that that's your job, or whatever the case may be. And everybody wants to make money, or whatever the case may be. But there's literally no heart to the justice system, especially in the matters of family law. God bless. Show off.